Last week's video, we talked about financial wellness. This week, we're going to get into intrapersonal wellness. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Gratified Grad, where it's my goal to help you graduate with gratification. Intrapersonal wellness, well, at least I define it as that relationship that you have with yourself. Now, this can be looked at in multiple different ways, but for today's video, we're going to look at it in the way of our conscious mental awareness in relationship to what the body is aware of. So just because you are not mentally aware of something does not mean that your body does not still process it. So we're going to go through 3 examples of what I mean by this. So the first example that we're going to dive into today is food allergies, right? So this is a very simple example of how just because you are not mentally aware of what's going on, your body is still going to respond. Let's say you have a dairy intolerance. Now, an allergy versus a tolerance, if you did not know, is 2 different things. Allergies, you literally cannot ingest that item, whereas intolerances are you can ingest that item, but there will be some bodily responses, but they're not as severe as allergies. And so there are some people who have dairy intolerances that, for example, make their muscles weaker, right? So if you do a fitness test before eating dairy versus after eating or ingesting dairy, then you would see the difference. For other people, dairy intolerances result in digestive issues and the negative things that come from having some digestive issues. And so that is an example of how even if you're not mentally aware that you have a dairy intolerance, your body will tell you, hey, there's something going wrong. Our body does not digest dairy, or our body is not able to ingest these proteins in a way that is beneficial for our health. Now, if you ignore your body, then you will continue to see issues and cause problems. So, like I said, this is probably a very simplistic example of that mind body connection and how you want to pay attention to what you eat and how it impacts your body. Now, I could have a whole video just talking about all the different reactions and the different ways for you to notice that there is some type of intolerance towards different foods in your body. But I would just cut this example short and say, be aware, right? If you notice that you're going to the bathroom after eating certain foods very quickly, it's a sign that maybe you have an intolerance, or you're getting very sleepy and having lethargy after eating certain foods. That's an example of an intolerance. Gastro issues, runny nose, right? Unless it is spices. Now, spices, they're designed to cause your nose to run, right? But regardless, the whole point is to say, pay attention to how your body responds to the different foods, and that in return will build your intrapersonal relationship, that relationship with your body, and that connection between your mind and your body. The next example that I am going to give is one that I talk about all the time. And this one really does hit home to your connection, your confidence building, and just that understanding of, am I going to listen to myself? So I know I've seen it in vlogs. I hear people talk about how they have 5 different alarms set. And with every alarm, they hit snooze or they turn it off. Let's say you went to bed the night before and said, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. Instead of getting up at 5 a.m., you hit the snooze button. What are you telling your body when you do that, right? Mentally, you have said, I want to get up at 5 a.m. Your alarm goes off, your body wakes up, but then you hit the snooze button and roll over and go back to sleep. So, subconsciously or inadvertently, you're telling yourself that we don't have to listen to our or we don't have to follow through with our own expectations of self. So I always encourage people to just don't set that 5 a.m. alarm at all, right? Because repetitively, every now and again, if you do that, I don't think it causes that much issue. I don't think it's that big of an issue. But if you're constantly saying, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., and you're constantly not getting up at 5 a.m., what type of relationship are you building with yourself? And I would encourage you to just not say, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., and choose a time that is more realistic, that does not make you feel bad for not actually getting up at the time that you said, and that in return builds a better relationship with yourself. And the last example that I'm going to give revolves around body language. So there's so much work around reading body language because it's typically the easiest way to tell if a person is lying, to figure out what is the actual truth, because the body language speaks on its own. The body language speaks for what the conscious mind is not saying. When we think about how we have when we're having conversations, what percentage is body language? What percentage is verbal communication? I can't remember off the top of my head right now, so I'm going to insert those percentages right here. And so, with that knowledge, think about how not processing your emotions or not allowing yourself to be aware about how you may feel about a person or a situation can actually come through in a conversation with them. So, for example, let's say you are getting ready to give a talk and you are extremely nervous about giving this talk. It's coming through your body language, through but it's showing up in your body language. So it's, for some people, they tend to shake, they tend to rock back and forth, tap their legs. There's so many different things that people do when they're nervous, and people do those things more often than not subconsciously. So when you bring your awareness, right, connecting the mind to the body, to the fact that you are nervous and you are exhibiting these behaviors because you're nervous, that makes you more likely to not do those behaviors and to be more confident and authentic in how you're presenting yourself and speaking to others. Hopefully, this information adds some more tools to your toolbox so that you can graduate with gratification. See ya.